Good morning, everyone. So first of all, ladies, can we give Vernon a round of applause for not only creating those amazing, tasty drinks, but those mixology kits were top notch. Also, how awesome are your brunch boxes from Huckleberry? I'm sure you all have had the cronuts by now and can almost bet if it's your first time, I'm sure it will not be your last. Also, Huckleberry are sponsoring a free glass of Prosecco to all of you attending today. You can redeem it when you visit them in person. Next on the agenda is our first keynote, Leah J.M. Dean. She is the author of the best-selling book, Assemble the Tribe, and an expert on leading with a tribe mindset. She is a former chief HR executive and board member who for more than 20 years successfully developed leading HR strategies. She has been featured in Entrepreneurship and Authority magazine, along with many other local and international media outlets and podcasts. She holds an MBA degree from St. John's University. Leah is also the founder of the Design for Impact event, which brings together hundreds of women for professional and personal development. As an international speaker and a business and personal development coach, Leah unlocks her signature formula, believe plus belong equals be different, and shares strategies and stories to help women and their allies unleash their unique value, redefine their tribes, and reimagine how they show up in the world. As the founder and CEO of Conduit International Limited, Leah has worked with organizations and executives across numerous industries, including insurance, reinsurance, education, not-for-profit, and business consulting. On a mission to create a more connected world, Leah uses science and her proprietary group research with over 1,200 women to her audiences confidently navigate life and leadership with authenticity, courage, and heart. Leah lives in Bermuda with her husband and 2 children and has on this past Friday hosted another successful masterclass event encouraging women to optimize your life. And if you weren't there, you missed it. Help me to welcome Leah Dean to the stage.
Thank you so much, Kalina, for that kind introduction. I can't wait to get my hands on my cronuts. And I am so excited to be here with all of you today because today we are going to go on a journey of stories. Morning, everybody. Yes, please keep talking to me in the chat. We are going to talk today and have a conversation. But I want us to explore why tribes matter in our lives and even more so for us as women entrepreneurs. So I want to kick off by just having you indulge me for a minute. Close your eyes and travel back in time with me. When was the first time, think carefully, when was the first time in your life that you dabbled in entrepreneurship? Was it maybe when you were a child? Or perhaps your parents were entrepreneurs? Maybe it was just last year. What stage of life were you? Pop that in the chat for me. Open your eyes and pop that in the chat. What stage of life were you in when you started to dabble with entrepreneurship? Was it last year? Was it when you were a child? Let me know. Primary school. Yeah, Marissa, I see that. Teens. All right. So a lot of us are started to explore entrepreneurship when we were a little bit younger. Reva, just a few years. Awesome. Visit my granny and help her shop. Love it, Michelle. So for me, I was around the age of 8 or 9 years old when I had my first experience with entrepreneurship. For those of you that know me, you'll know that I grew up on Darrow's Island. And this particular summer, when I had my first experience, it was blisteringly hot. And my brothers and I decided we needed some cash and that we were going to sell treats to the campers. So we took out a loan with my mom. We purchased popsicles and then loaded up our cooler and schlepped that cooler of ice cream and rainbow pops around until everything was gone. The experience was an entrepreneur's dream. No hurdles to funding, minimal marketing, and excited customers. It was like selling water in a desert. And as I think about it, we had a blast and it was made so much easier because I didn't have to do it alone. I did it with my brothers. We assembled our tribe. And I believe as women called to entrepreneurship, if we take a step back, we'll find that there are these tiny little breadcrumbs of both entrepreneurship and tribes all through our lives. So my first question, are you a solopreneur? My next question, are you a solopreneur or do you have a team? Put that in the chat for me. Are you solo or do you have a team? If you're a solopreneur, just put solo. If you have a team, put team in the chat for me. All right. So Laura has a team, but we have quite a lot of folks in here that are solo. All right. So yeah, it looks like solo is winning out right now, but a few of you had a team. So that's good to know. We're going to talk about both. So now I want you to answer this question in your mind. Do you believe that you are the sole maker of your entrepreneurial destiny? Or do you believe that your success as an entrepreneur is contingent on inviting others in? You don't have to put that in the chat, but I just want you to think about that. As women entrepreneurs, especially for those of you that are solopreneurs, I believe this question matters because most of us, we live by the mantra, as my good friend and author Elaine would say, I got it. However, if you're an entrepreneur, that's a problem because there will never be enough time in the day for you to amass all of the information that you need, and you'll never have enough capacity to learn every single area of your business so that you get to the level of expert. And what happens when we try to do it all on our own? Well, more often than not, we get burned out and discouraged, and sometimes we feel isolated. And what does the data say about isolation? Well, in all of my research, I've learned that people who are lonely or isolated day after day, we have higher instances of illnesses such as cancer, but high blood pressure, we may struggle with obesity, and sometimes it even increases our mortality by on average 29%. So I repeat, your mortality can increase on average 29%. So ladies, this is why we need to have tribes in our lives. If we are burned out and alone, we are literally killing ourselves when we refuse to take time to invest in our tribes. So during the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to talk about what does tribe really mean? What's the formula for building tribes? And then I'm going to share some stories with you on how I've put it to practice in my leadership and entrepreneurship over the years. So let's get started and talk a little bit about tribes. What does it mean? Now, when I say tribe, I know what I'm talking about, but when you hear me say the word tribe, type the first thing that comes to your mind. How do you define tribe? Just pop that in the chat for me. Support. Michelle says support. What else? When you hear the word tribe, and yep, Reva also said support, community. Yeah, I love that. Your posse, I like that, like minds. Now, when I say tribe, what I'm really talking about is how to create and maintain healthy relationships in all of the areas in our lives. So let's look at the definition of tribe again. Now, since releasing my book, I've talked to audiences all over the world about this idea of tribe. And the one thing that comes up in almost every single conversation is that when most people think about tribe, they actually think about a closer circle, their people. But here's what I've learned. Tribe is a complicated word. It means a lot of different things to different people depending on context. For some people, it connects them. For others, it divides. For some people, it means a more primitive way of life. And for others, it inspires and motivates change and innovation. For some, it's a large group. The dictionary says it's a group, and a group is two or more. So there's different views. The word is so complicated that some social scientists say, stop using the word altogether. And while I was writing my book, my family often cautioned me, are you sure you really want to use that word? Because at the time, the world was rife with political divides, and we talked about tribalism. So in the end, interestingly or not enough, that is why I fell in love with the word tribe. Because like humans, the word tribe is complicated. I'm complicated, Carl's complicated, Kalina's complicated, we're all complicated people. So in my book, I took some creative license and wove together all of the things that I had learned about tribe. And here's my definition that I want to share with you today. A tribe is individually complex people with shared beliefs, values, or interests who choose to come together in various ways to create relationship. And what I want you to remember about that definition is there are 3 C's in your tribe. complex. So every single person that we connect with in our lives and our businesses, they have their own biases and experiences that have the potential to get in the way every time we interact. We are complex. We also have to choose. We have to make choices about how we show up. And then we have to create. And create means that tribes, our personal tribes, our professional tribes, our entrepreneurial tribes, they take work. And I always say that anything worth having takes work, and our relationships is no exception. And so what that means is every day our relationships are going to require us to make these choices. Now, in the end, though, not only do I believe that tribe needs to be redefined to include the 3 C's, to keep our relationships healthy, tribes are going to require this daily commitment of choices. So that means for me, at its highest level, tribe is almost a mindset. And I came to this conclusion during a conversation with a neuroscientist. For those of you that were at DFI, you met her, Stacey Demford. I met her about 3 years ago while I was conducting research for my book. And when I interviewed her, she broke it down like this. She said, Leah, your mind and your brain are separate. And I was like, what do you mean? I've never heard the mind and brain are separate. But she said, your mind and brain are separate. I can hold your brain and put it in a jar, but I can never hold your mind. But we know it's there. And so then I asked, okay, I got it. But what does that have to do with relationships? And so she said, pretend your phone. She asked me to pick up my phone. And she said, pretend that your phone is your brain and that your mind is the app that tells your brain what to do. And so what that means is that every day in our relationships, we have to activate what I call our tribe app and choose how we show up in our relationships in order to live our best lives. So then the question becomes, well, I got it. I got that there are 3 C's to this tribe thing, that the mind and the brain are separate and my relationships will be contingent on how I choose to show up, but how do I do it? And so I have a very simple formula, which Kalina mentioned, believe, belong, be different. And one of the ahas that I had in the process of writing my book is that in order for any tribe relationship to be healthy, the first relationship that has to be healthy is the relationship that I have with myself. Because when we are broken, we take our brokenness into our relationships and then we break them. And so after we've done the self-work, the next step is to find places to belong and experience belonging. We're gonna be doing that on Friday at the BEDC conference. We're gonna be finding places to belong and experience belonging. And we know that if we don't find those places, that the isolation will crush and kill us if we don't make the effort. So we wanna make sure we're making the effort to find those tribes. And then the last part of the formula for me is where it all comes to life. We've done the self-work, we found our tribe, but daily we have to choose. This is where that whole tribe app comes in and make the daily commitment to showing up as our best selves in our relationships every single day. So now that we know what a tribe is and how to build it, let's explore 4 lessons that I've learned over the last couple of years as I have come to dabble in entrepreneurship. Lesson number 1. Our tribes are sometimes hidden. As entrepreneurs, especially when we're working solo, we are not alone. Every day we engage with vendors, customers, friends, family, members of our team, competitors, and each of these relationships have an impact on our business. However, sometimes we can't see it because again, we're stuck in, I got it, I can do this on my own. Now, shortly after I released my book, a friend of mine called me to say, thank you. And I said, okay, what did I do? And she said, this past week, I was involved in a crisis in my business. It was big, it was ugly, and it had the potential to have meaningful financial impact for me. And as the enormity of the situation sank in, I was scared, I was stressed, and I felt so alone. And then suddenly, as I started to ponder and think about what am I going to do, I remembered your book. And I remembered the levels of tribe in this mindset. And then I paused, I took a step back, took a breath, and started to dig through my mental Rolodex. And she said, within a couple of hours, I had contacted 3 people and I was on a path to resolution. The book reminded me that I had more support than I realized. I just needed to assemble my tribe. And she said, if it wasn't for the book, I wouldn't have reached out. Now, as you guys listen to this as entrepreneurs, I want you to remember that in your lives in entrepreneurship, your mind is a complicated place. Sometimes it can hide our belonging, even though it's plainly in view. And I found that our tribes are everywhere. The person you meet at a conference, your former colleague, a customer that runs a legal firm, a cousin twice removed. I've met a few of those in the last few years. We just have to shift our mindset and reassemble our tribe. And often we think that people are too busy and they might not care. But if we just ask, we'd find more often than not. I mean, I've talked to a number of the ladies that I've already seen on the call. We're willing to make the investment if only we ask. The other day, a woman called me up and she asked to connect. And of course, I was getting ready for the conference. So I was busy, I was tired, but I decided to carve out 30 minutes just for us to connect. Well, that 30 minutes turned into 90 minutes. And by the end of our time together, instead of the one idea that she called me about, I gave her 6. And she partnered with me in ways I didn't even know I needed, all because we took the time to assemble our tribe. So we cannot and should not do life or entrepreneurship alone. And sometimes our tribes are hidden. The mind is a complicated place. This is lesson 1. It can sometimes hide our belonging, even though it's plainly in view. Lesson number 2, and this is the second lesson of tribe that I learned while working in the corporate world. So this might be powerful for those of you that work with teams. And teams could be your staff. For those of you that are solopreneurs, it could be the subcontractors that you engage with to help you in your business. But I know for me, when I moved into that first leadership role, I was excited. I wanted to prove that I belonged in the seat. And so I spent hours and hours working, creating, planning, laying frameworks and goals for my team to lead us to greatness. And sometimes my plans work and sometimes they didn't. And it wasn't until I assembled someone else from my tribe to help me retool my strategy process that things really started to change. As we rebuilt the process, I moved away from creating a lot of it myself to engaging with my team. From my assistant to my SVPs, they all co-created with me. My motto became, we're better together than we are on their own. And guess what? I am never the smartest person in the room. And so by reimagining the process, everyone could self-direct, feel a sense of ownership, and help me see things that otherwise I might have missed. So today I teach this in my leadership programs because I want women, I want you to experience more success, the innovation and creativity and the results that come from unlocking this power of tribe. So lesson number 2, there is power in tribes and we are better together than we are on our own. It's up to you to unleash the collective genius of your team. Lesson number 3, we all need an acceleration tribe. So I want you guys to put in the chat for me. I'm interested. When did you start your business? I know you've said when you started to dabble in entrepreneurship for the first time, but when did you specifically start your business? If you started your business in the last 2 years, put a 1 in the chat. And if your business is older than 2 years, put a 2 in the chat. So we got a couple. Looks like a lot of folks have started recently. All right, Seth, Tika, Coral, you've had your businesses for a while. All right, so we have a mix. This particular lesson works no matter your stage, but I found it particularly helpful for me in the startup phase of business. So after, more than 20 years of leading teams with this strong mindset and belief in tribes, some days it was a bit lonely. And we've talked about loneliness. That's not a place where you want to stay as an entrepreneur. I miss the co-creation. I miss that mental sparring, the innovation that comes from connecting with others. And so I decided to hire a business coach to help me accelerate my learning. She was what I needed. We created goals. She held me accountable. She beat me up. I blew past my initial targets. I picked her brain and she really shared with me what helped her to achieve success. But then it ended. While getting a coach is helpful, it's not always practical or financially feasible to keep them on board for long periods of time. And so I started to think, well, how can I use this whole tribe thing, this tribe app, to recreate that jumps that I got while I was working with her? And then I started to think about some of the women in my network. And each of them had a different skill and a different area of expertise. And I thought not only about what they could bring to my business, but I thought about what I could bring to them. Sometimes when we're looking to build tribes in support of a business or a project, we look for people who can give something to us. And I think it's always equally important to think about what can I bring to them. And then I started to reach out. Didn't happen all at once. I didn't even add them all at once, but slowly I was assembling my tribe, a tribe of peers, a tribe of mentors, a tribe that I call my accelerators. You see, often when we're looking for mentors, we're looking for the people that have been in business for 10 years and more. And I'm not saying we shouldn't try to find them, but there are so many people all around us who are growing and learning every day in their businesses, and they can add to our lives. So I now have this tribe of about 4 women. We check in monthly. We don't meet together, so I'm meeting with each of them individually. And we each have goals and we hold each other accountable. And what I love about this tribe, we coach each other, we trade secrets, we help each other do more. And I've never left a meeting not being equipped with at least one practical thing I can implement in my business, or feeling emotionally supported. So lesson number 3, we all need an acceleration tribe. If you can, hire a coach. And on top of all of that, build yourself your own acceleration tribe. There's that quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. I believe if you want to go far and faster, find your tribe. And lesson number 4, the partnership of tribe is a game changer. The partnership of tribe is a game changer. So fast forward a couple months. My business was moving well. The whole acceleration tribe was working beautifully. I had so many ideas. The client work was going okay. I was exhilarated, but guess how I felt? I was worn out. I had so many ideas and things to do, but there were just not enough hours in the day. And slowly I found myself creeping back into old habits, long hours, too many things to do, cranky with my husband and kids, not exercising. And even though I loved every single minute of it, on some level, my business was starting to steal some of the same things that led me to create it. Has anybody else ever felt that way? Just tell me in the chat, am I alone? Or does some days your business, the thing that you love, start to steal? Yeah, Reva. Thanks, Michelle. So I needed to find a way to move away from this isolation. I needed some more day-to-day of tribe. Thanks, Galina. So a few months ago, a friend of mine called and she said, hey, I have a project that I need to work on, and there are pieces that I'm good at, and there are pieces that you're really good at. I don't have time to do it. I know you don't have time to do the entire project, but what if we worked on it together? And so we sat down, we put our heads together, thought about the client needs, and we came up with a solution. And ladies, let me tell you, with a properly papered partnership, we want to be smart. With a properly papered partnership, I signed the largest deal that I've signed to date in my business. And so partnership, what I've learned is partnership can be a game changer. Sometimes we just have to get out of our own heads and out of our own way, because our dreams, they're never going to be realized alone, especially for those of us that are solopreneurs. So as I wrap up our time together today, I want you to remember the lessons that we've talked about on this journey of tribe. Remember those 3 C's. We're all complex. We're complex, our clients are complex. And so we have to afford each other a certain amount of grace. We have to choose every day how we're going to show up, and we have to put in the work to build these relationships. And there's a simple formula for unlocking. We have to believe in ourselves, do the self-work, put in the time and the work to find places to belong, and then choose to show up different and activate that tribe app every day. Never forget, your mind is a complicated place. It can hide your belonging, even though it's plainly in view. As entrepreneurs, if we shift our mindset, we'll find that the potential for tribe is everywhere. For those of us that have teams or have vendors that are good partners, there's power in our tribes, and we're better together than we are on our own. If you lead a team, never ever take them for granted. There are ideas and innovations locked inside their minds that only you can unleash. Number 3, get yourself an acceleration tribe. hire a coach. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far and faster, find your tribe. And then last but not least, never forget, partnership is a game changer. With a properly structured partnership, we can do things that we never, ever dreamed possible on our own. Sometimes we just have to get out of our own heads and out of our own way because our dreams are not realized alone. Now, as Kalina said, on Friday, I hosted Design for Impact, and I had the honor of interviewing Her Royal Highness Ambassador Rima Bandar Al Saud from Saudi Arabia. And in her keynote, she talked about the fundamental rights of women in her country, the right to drive, the right to own a bank account, the right to travel on their own, their ability to just even talk about breast and breast cancer in public. And she shared with us how she had to assemble her tribe to fight for change for the women in her country. She shared that one of her fundamental beliefs was that as women, when we see cracks in ceilings, we need to push through those cracks. And if the opportunity isn't the right fit for us, we need to reach through those cracks and pull another woman through and create more opportunity for us all. Ladies, I believe the opportunities for tribe are everywhere. And never forget that your success will never be defined by you alone. When you build your tribe, you will be healthier, happier, and accelerate your life and your business. Now, I love the name of this 2021 conference because it embodies my hope for all of you, that you will put in the work and persevere in your businesses and with your tribes, that you will pull others through the cracks of your life and your business and connect the dots for you and them in ways that you had never dreamed possible. And in doing so, I believe that you will transform your entrepreneurship and become the change that you want to see in the world. So my question today, my last question is, ladies, what are you waiting for? Let's get started and assemble our tribes. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Does anyone have any questions for Leah? So many important topics and things that you pointed on today, so many lessons learned. SHEQONOMI says, thank you so much, Leah. Powerful, inspiring words. May we all persevere together. Let's do this. Lovely. This was awesome. Oh my gosh, powerful. That was awesome. Claps. So excited. So does anyone have any questions that we can give to Leah? Is one tribe made up of similar industry or business type?
So Michelle, I love that question. I think the more varied, the better. I think the thing that you should think about when you're trying to build your acceleration tribe is what are the specific things that I'm going to need in order to drive my business. So you might have somebody who works in a technology sector because that's an area of your business where you want to go deeper. Maybe different from what you do in your day-to-day, but they'll add value. And so I think when you're building those relationships, the key is, again, if they're outside of my sector, then what do I know that, and what do I believe that, and what information and knowledge do I have where I might be able to add value? And that's been pretty powerful for me to actually mix industries. So I have some of the women who are in my space, and we've said we're just going to be wide open and share. We are in different countries and different markets, so we don't have to worry about possible overlap and competing. And with some of the partnerships, some of them are overseas and some of them are here. So I think that's the beauty of building your tribes. There's billions of people in the world. It's really about finding the ones that are going to be the right fit for you. A new asked, am I opening up spots for my 2022 mastermind? Absolutely. You can go head on over to thetribeadvantage.com and join the wait list, and we'll be opening that back up in the spring. So Francia said, you mentioned properly papered partnership. How do you know when to transition from support to sign off for partnership? It's a delicate balance, right? It's one thing if you I'll just use this as an example. If I have someone who comes to do some work for me in one of my conferences, that's a very lightly papered arrangement. But if you're going to go into business or do business with a partner, so you don't necessarily want to combine your companies, which is an option, but let's say you don't want to combine your companies, making sure that the documentation is clear. What do you own? What do they own? How are you going to interact with the customers? Who's going to be the lead person? But what I found is that for me has been the game changer, because I just don't have enough hours in the day. And so being able to put both of our brains together, being able to rely on each other as a solopreneur, it's been a game changer. But we had to take the time. I have my lawyer, she has my lawyer, her lawyer. We put together the right agreement so that we don't ever have to get into a situation where our relationship becomes strained, because we know what the deal was going in. So I think if it's something that's going to involve maybe intellectual property and what's theirs and yours, like those are some of the things where you absolutely want to make sure that you have the right documentation in place.
Okay, the last comment was, that was awesome. Solo entrepreneurs can be exhausting at times. I've definitely had days where I felt burnout. I love my business and grateful for its success, but now I see the importance of building a tribe. So I want to say thank you, Leah, for a very inspirational and powerful message. Such a timely topic that is so needed. You definitely left us ladies with a lot to think about going forward. My takeaway would be having an accountability partner. I think it's very important to have someone to check into and have somebody that you're accountable for. Make sure you connect to Leah's social media so you can learn more about her assembling your tribe. Next, we have Brenda Fiala, and so we're going to go over into her link. I'm not sure if you guys go directly over or if they have to put you over, but thanks again, Leah. Thanks for joining us. I'm looking forward to talking to you later and connecting. And if you head over to Brenda's, we'll be listening to another great keynote speaker.
Bye, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the conference and hope to see you on Friday.
Yes, for sure.
Bye-bye.